Can a female thrive in the tile industry? This is Sara Maurchie. She's a third-generation tile installer.
I didn't just wake up one day and was like, I want to be a tile setter. It's hard work. I mean, it's harder than people even know. It's very rewarding at the end of the day.
She's doing impressive work as a trailblazer. Today, she's our guest on the Talkin' Tile podcast. Let's jump right into part one. Hey friends, welcome back to the Talkin' Tile podcast, the official podcast of the How to Tile Like a Pro brand. I'm your host, Frankie Martinez, and today I'm very honored to have a very special guest with us. Please welcome the one, the only, listen closely, Sara Maurchie.
Maurchie, that was perfect.
Maurchie, very awesome, very awesome. Well, so glad you're here, Sara. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Very, very cool. And if you don't know, the reason Sara is here is because she is an amazing tile, not only installer, but contractor, right?
Yes.
So how long have you been in business?
Well, long story short, so my dad is a master. He's been doing it his whole entire life.
No way.
My dad learned from my grandfather, Hank Maurchie.
No
so
way.
We kind of have a bloodline of tile setters and painters in our family. So it kind of was destiny for me. My sister does it as well. It's like the whole family.
Are you serious? I did not know this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
So my sister's like the backsplash queen, and I'm kind of more into like the custom showers, and I get more into the technical waterproofing, and I get in there and do the demo, but we do it all as a family, but we branch off and get our own jobs, and it's a whole family affair. But I started from my dad. My dad's the one that's taught me everything I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was your grandpa a tile installer as well?
Yes. My grandpa was a tile installer as well.
So you are third generation here.
I am third generation tile.
Then you are the perfect one for this interview. You see how we got connected? That is so awesome.
It's strange for people to think like, oh, how'd you get into tile? Like, I didn't just wake up one day and was like, I want to be a tile setter. Like, that's just not a really realistic thing. But my father has always been self-employed, and he's always said self-employment is priceless. You can't put a number on self-employment. And as I got older, that looked more and more enticing to me. And so I was his helper for a long time. And now I'm doing my own thing. So along with his help, but I've got my own clients, my own jobs. So.
Okay. So do you just work under his license still?
I actually have my own license. We all have our own licenses and LLCs and everything, but
that's so cool.
Yeah, we do jobs together. We do backsplashes separate. We're just kind of all over the place, and we're so busy that we're booked till next year. So
well, that's awesome. I mean, especially because you have, like you said, you have the ability where if one of you get a really big job, you guys can all kind of team up and help each other out. So, and then of course it's great to do your own thing and, establish your own, clientele and stuff like that.
Yeah, it took a long time to get to that point. For years, I was just a helper. And I've always been on the jobs with my dad, and he's like, go fill up those buckets of water. And I'm kind of doing the bitch work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm good, but.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry at all.
For a long time, I was kind of my dad's helper. And as a kid, we were always on construction sites. So it's always been there. But, I went to college, I was a server, I was a manager, I did a bunch of other things, and I was like, man, I kind of want to be self-employed.
Wow.
And I put in the work, I put in the years to get to the point where I'm at now. So it was a lot of hard work, but it was worth it.
Yeah, now to where you're confident and competent, and you can pretty much handle it.
Yeah.
Cool. So how long have you been in the trade completely? Like since you started, when did you start learning with your dad?
I would say like full-time invested about 5 years.
Okay. With your dad. Okay. So then how long have you had your license now?
About that long. So as soon as I
Okay.
I called my dad up and I was like, I'm really serious about this. I want to learn the trade. I want to,
Wow.
you know, get involved. He's like, well, you need to get your LLC. You need to get all your documents, everything
Wow.
legal, all your paperwork, and so that yeah, it's been about 5 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Very, very impressive. Very impressive. Especially, like I said, a third generation. That's very, very
Yeah,
cool. I really respect that. I'm first generation. I'm like the first guy in my family line. So, but I fell in
yeah.
love with the trade at a very young age. I was like maybe 19 years old when I
Oh, really?
started. Yeah, I started. I won't tell you how old I am now because it just it's depressing. But
No.
but I've been in the trade for a very, very, very long time, and so it's really cool, because I've met people on job sites who are, third, second generation. I think it's cool.
Yeah,
So, and that's cool. And the reason Sarah is here is because I've noticed a lot is more female. Uh, there are more female installers and contractors than I ever before. I think, in my years, I've have worked with different females throughout my career, so it's not like uncommon for females to be in the tile industry. I remember when I was still an apprentice, there was a female journeyman, and she just, that sounds funny, female journeyman, female journeywoman, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah, she was she was awesome. She did everything. Then as I was an employee, one of our coworkers was a girl, and she was learning the trade with us and stuff like that. So I've seen it around, but I definitely think it's getting a little more popular.
yeah,
And I think it's cool. And that's how I found you. I just was browsing TikTok. I saw your tile videos, and I thought they were cool because I think the thing that stood out to me about yours is I could tell by your videos that you really were an installer. Like you were really doing the work. You weren't just like pretending you're doing the work, or I could tell you weren't just, I don't know, there's something about your videos that made me like respect your work quality. I'm
yeah,
like, she knows what she's doing. She's doing her work, and I so that's what I really loved about it. And honestly, just intrigued to hear your story and hear some of your challenges and some things we'll get into later about maybe advice that you can give to other girls contemplating the industry, because for you the thing that drew you in was the ability to work for yourself, right?
yeah.
And so 5 years in, how are you feeling about that decision?
I'm feeling great.
It's a good decision.
It was a great decision. For example, you work for a corporation or you work for a big company. It can be great in a lot of ways, but when you work for yourself or for your family business or whatever it is, smaller business, I can be like, you know what? I need a month off to
Yeah,
travel, or
yeah,
I need a week off to do this. I make my
yeah,
own schedule.
yeah.
So
True.
it's hard work. I mean, it's harder than people even know. Like you're in
Yeah,
it, so you get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I call it mashed potato brain. When I get home, I'm like, I can't even speak words because all day you're doing a puzzle. You're doing a hard, like physical
Yeah,
puzzle, and you get
yeah.
home and you're just like,
Uh,
I don't have words to speak, but it's very rewarding at the end of
yeah,
the day.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, I don't regret anything about the decision. I think it was a great decision, and all the hard work pays off in the end.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's good. And I think that's one of the biggest things I think about with our trade, because it is definitely, it's not for the weak. It's hard, but the reward is really worth it. And there's nothing like just being rewarded for your work, something that you
Yeah,
do, just being able to see the finished product. And of course, we're in the finished trade, so we get like a lot more praise than say the drywall guys, or even some of the plumbers. They don't really, "Ooh, those pipes are really installed nice." They'll
they
never
don't
hear
care.
that.
They're like,
You-
well, when's the tile gonna be on the wall? When's it gonna
yeah,
look pretty? That's
yeah,
what the clients want, and that's one thing that I've perfected is my family calls me the grout dog. That's like kind of kind of my nickname because I mean I love everything about the trade, but the thing I love the most is grouting and
uh,
finish day
yeah,
because I grout everything for my family, and I make it when that client walks in. Those little, even in the niche, that little
Yeah.
corner,
Yeah. Yeah.
pinky, or you take your knife and you make that perfect. Those
Yeah.
things count. I mean, to me,
Yes.
and
Yeah. No, it makes the biggest difference. The biggest
yeah,
difference.
it really does, because it sets you apart from other tile installers, and
Yeah.
people really love your attention to detail, and that's what makes people call your phone for a job.
For
They're
real.
like,
For real.
this family really cares about how it's going to look in the end. So,
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like that. And those details definitely make the difference. I have some of my general contractors, they tell me, Frank, you have to grout everything because no one can grout it. Like, I'm like, dude, I need my guys to grout for me, buddy. Okay. They're like, no, but we need you. But it's true because it's those details. It's cleaning the corners like really nice. That just speaks like so much.
it's the one wiping, it's everything. I mean, I do new construction as well, but even the new construction, we do $1 million homes, $10 million homes on the beach, and
Yeah.
there's 10 bathrooms in the houses. And so, I'll be doing a bathroom and somebody else will be doing one, and you can see the difference in
Yeah.
somebody cares a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then someone who just goes in there and kind of
Yeah.
sit, all right, I'm done for the day. Like,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
yeah.
That's hilarious. So where are you located? Where's your company located?
Destin, Florida area, the Panhandle. We do
Perfect.
most of our work in like 30A and Inlet Beach, which is kind of in between Destin and Panama City.
Perfect. Perfect. Nice. Okay. Very cool. So you mentioned earlier about, the mashed potato brain, I think you called it. Is that what it was? So and I know that some of the work, like even like for me, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but like I mean, we still do most of our work is mud float. And so I'm in San Diego, and that's just kind of the norm around here. So, but
Yeah.
those days, man, they beat me up. You know what I mean? They're like, they're not. So I think yesterday we floated like 2 showers, and
So you're
that's
saying you mud the whole thing?
oh yeah, the whole thing. We put the old school paper lath and get cement and put it all up on the walls and plumb them and square
That's
them
old.
up.
That's the correct way to do it.
Yeah, I'm still dabbling with some of the other. I mean, occasionally we'll use like backer board if it's like a large tile and they want us to cut costs or something. Then we've occasionally done that, but for the most part, I'm still like to me it's so much easier to mud float everything because it's just I could customize everything like super easy. I don't even care what the studs do. I don't even check the studs anymore. I just
Yeah.
do my thing. I could if the studs could be so crooked, so wrong, but once I put the mud, it's perfectly plumb. So to me,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing it so long, it's super fast and easy. Like I wanted to float four. I was gonna make a YouTube video yesterday, floating 4 showers in one day, and we were gonna do it, but they were installing doors in the other unit, so we could only get into two. So I'm like, God,
How
this
many
is my.
guys? Like, how many people?
I was just gonna be me and the helper.
Four in one day.
Yeah, we were
Woo!
gonna we were gonna set it. I thought it'd be a cool video that people would want to watch,
After
but
video, I would like to watch it, and you would have to have a heating pad after a day like that on your back. 'Cause
yeah, for real.
that,
Yeah, I know. We had a concert last night, and I was like debating whether I should go because I was kind of beat after the two. So I'm like, thank God I couldn't do four.
so okay, so you're talking old school. I learned kind of both. My dad taught me in the beginning the old school, like the pan liner and the mud
Mm,
pack and the Durock
yeah.
and that whole thing.
Hmm.
But one thing I want to ask you, how do you feel about like Schluter system and all that?
I'm intrigued. I'm honestly intrigued. I've been trying to sign up for their little. They come to San Diego and every so often and do their training where they'll certify you or whatever. So I've been
Hmm.
trying to sign up. I've been on the waiting list a couple times. So I'm intrigued by it, but I guess the number one thing that kind of like is I'm not sure how we can customize it, because we work in very, to me, at least in my mind, it seems very like I don't know, maybe you could help me with that because I assume you do the Schluter system a lot more.
Yeah, that's Schluter, Go Board, that kind of thing. Anything that's lighter for me to
Yeah, yeah.
handle, easier to learn. Schluter is, I'm all for it.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I'm not necessarily opposed to it, because I mean, I definitely think, I want to stick with the times and stay current and and that stuff. And of course, if I don't have to float, if I could get the same quality, it'd be great not to. But most of in all honesty, most of our jobs, the contractors want to float, So it's kind of to me it's been a selling point for our business for many times because when they're choosing between a backer board company or mud float, they'll always go with a mud float because
Yeah.
in their mind they're like, oh, this is a better install. It's a better install. Let's just go with the mud guy. Go with the mud guy.
Yeah.
So for me that's what I like. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm intrigued by it. I want to learn it. I want to mess around with it a little more. But there are a few things that kind of like, I don't know, I post different videos where like we fix crooked tiles that are already installed. And so,
Mhm.
and for example, we float a wall and then these mosaics are all crooked. So I'll grab a knife and I'll cut the mesh out and then adjust them. And then these
Yeah.
guys online, they're like, you can't do that if you use the Curdy boards or whatever, because you'll cut the Dietrich board, you'll cut the waterproofing. I'm like, well, they're trying to correct me, obviously. Like, you cut the waterproofing. I'm like, bro, this is mud floated. There's the waterproofing like behind the mud. It's like,
I'm good. I'm good.
yeah. So I mean that would kind of, I don't know how I would do that, but yeah, it's something I'm definitely interested in. I'm hoping to go to the class to kind of check it out and see how it works. But I guess my biggest thing is understanding how it can customize. I don't know. Like I see these big old things, like the pan. It's like a big foam pan, and like
Yeah.
like for you, how do you like? Because to me, the drain's always different places, right? The
Yeah.
drain's in the center, the drain's over there, the drain's a little off. So
Mhm.
you just cut this board to make it fit. Is that what you're doing?
You do that. What you can't, I'm not a fan of the actual foam pans. I
Mm,
actually just do a mud bed regardless
okay.
because it's just more solid. It just,
Yeah.
and then what I'll do is I'll waterproof it with the Schluter paper
Mm,
pan, flash it up, flash the walls, flash
yeah.
everything together. But I do that on top of my mud pack
Mm,
because I just feel like it's more solid. The pan just kind of, it's just like you step on it, it's foam. So it's kind of
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
But what you do is, you center it, you cut it, and then whatever you have to make up, you make up with mud on,
Mm.
whatever
Oh,
void.
okay.
And it works. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fine. I think it's good for a smaller shower, but
Yeah.
some big custom shower, I still think a mud pack is the way to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah. Yeah,
Just,
like this. We just finished the shower. We've been in there almost 2 months. It was gigantic. It was huge, and I mean, I was just looking at the shape of this is so odd, and I'm like, how would I do it with these other systems? So for me, mud is easy. You just throw it up there, and you do whatever you want. And I
you can
think just by what's that?
you can mold it however you want. You can shape
Yeah,
it, do whatever you need to do to it.
yeah.
So
And so to me the walls is the same way, like with the walls, the same method or thinking you have with the floor. I apply that to walls. It's easy. I can mold it, I could shape it, I could do whatever I want, I could make it super thick, I could grind it down, whatever. So
yeah,
but by hearing you talk, it reminded me of one of the main reasons I don't like it is I don't like being liable for waterproofing.
yeah. It's a little nerve wracking.
Because
I
right now, like we don't even use the liner because I don't want to be liable. So what we do is I subcontract and get a hot mopper out there. They bring the old school hot tar. They put the tar in there. They do that, and I show up when it's all waterproofed. We water test it to make sure it's watertight, and then I do my thing. And if it leaks water, it's not on me. It's not on
yeah.
me. I was just a tile guy. Don't call me.
That's
So
that's impressive. I mean, I'm learning the Schluter system more and more. I'm getting better and better, faster at it. I like it and I'm confident with it.
mm,
But like you said, there's some things around it where I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's
yeah.
even my dad, like, this isn't the old school way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
I mean, new
yeah.
technology. So
Yeah, yeah, and so I definitely like the new technologies. Like, I mean, even the little spacers, the clips. I used to make fun of those. Oh man, I used to tease guys who use those. Those are training wheels. Those are for beginners, you know. But now I'm a fan. I love them. You know, they're the best thing in the world. You know, just it's more efficient. So,
yeah.
I, I've teased a couple people who use backer boards, but just because I tell them the only reason you're doing that because you don't know how to float. That's probably I shouldn't say that, but I said because if you knew how to float, you'd know it's fast, it's easier.
It's
But
true. It's very true. I mean, the easy way out is the clip system. You
yeah,
don't really have to worry about the walls. They can
yeah,
be half an inch to an inch out of whack
yeah,
as long as you got that clip. But
it's good.
on the other end, like in my brain, I'm like, well, does that tile even have enough thin set behind it? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
kind of, it's give or take. I mean, in uh, certain jobs, it's definitely worth it, but there's certain times where it's like, okay, we just need to float these walls. They're so messed up. They just need to be floated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's I mean, I saw the Schluter guys at there was some convention or something. I talked to them and I was asking, well, what do you do when the wall's like super out of whack? And so they're giving me some tips. So I'm definitely looking into it. I will eventually try it on a couple showers just to experiment. Maybe I'm gonna look for some basic, easy, 5x3 showers with big tile that's not so critical, but when
That's, yeah, that's what it's best for. If you have a big format, smaller shower, you can really kind of practice on that and work on the Schluter. And I think it's great. I mean, as long as you water test it, make sure everything's good to go.
yeah,
So far, so good. I mean,
yeah,
the
that's
Curdy
awesome.
great because I can lift it with one finger. It's so
Yeah.
light.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
thank
That's cool. Yeah. Well, trust me, if I would probably enjoy the concert a little better if I didn't float those two showers, but but Starbucks fixed that, so I still had a good time. I just took a
you.
couple shots of espresso and had a great time. So
There
there
you
you go.
go.
But okay, so back to your what do you call it? Mashed potato brain or something?
Mashed
Mashed
potato brain.
yeah. So, as a female in the industry, like for me, the whole point we kind of sidetracked, but that's fun. That's what podcasts are all about. But I was getting to like when we mud float showers, like those are the days I feel it the most. I feel like beat,
Yeah.
a little drain. Sometimes if we're doing massive flooring, like big floors, and we're just going all day
Mhm.
long. Those are the days that kind of beat me the most, physically. So as a female tile contractor, how do you relate to that? Do you still have those days where you like beat?
Yeah. I think one of the hardest parts about being a female in the trade, so in your brain you're like, I can do it. I can do everything a man can do, and
Yeah.
I consider myself pretty strong. I work out, whatever, but there's times where it's just too much. It's like I
Mm,
just need a man's strength to help me
yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, especially like demo,
Mm,
it's really hard on your body. It's
yeah.
hard on, I can only do so much.
Yeah.
So that's one of the hardest parts. And it's frustrating because, I'm a professional and I want to be like,
Yeah.
I can do it all. But
Yeah.
there's times where I'm like, I need my husband. I need my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need some muscle in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of, you're just like, dang it. But
Yeah.
it's a man's career. It really is.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that there's more females
Yeah.
just going in there and being badasses and being like,
Yeah.
we can do it too. And we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, and I think that's cool. And I think it's just by answering that question kind of helps, others thinking of the same thing. Like, and that's like the whole heart of this interview, is to help other females that are having contemplated it, maybe teeter tottering back and forth, and to hear you say that, I think that's cool because like you have a good solution. You have your husband, you have your dad, you have others in the industry that can help on those rough things. I mean, so I think that's really cool it's a good solution that you've found out there. And
Yeah. And I think if a girl or a woman is thinking about getting into the industry, it's hard work, but as long as you're determined, you're consistent, you just have to be kind of brave and just do it. But know that there's certain things where you might have to ask for help, and that's okay. You know, there's a lot of plumbing that I still don't know. Yeah. And it's frustrating, but I call my dad and I'm like, I need your help. Like, and you know, he's like, you'll learn. But that's another thing in this industry. I'm sure, you know, it's constantly a learning. Yeah. It's every single day is you learn something new.
Yeah. And it's good to have mentors. I mean, even regardless if you're male or female, it doesn't matter, because even in my industry, I've had a really good mentor. You know, tile contractor has been there ahead of me many years, and I'd call him all the time. Every time, you know, I had a question, I have a good couple people I would call, different contractor friends of mine, tile contractors. And, you know, we have a community, we help each other out, you know, and sometimes they'll send me questions. They'll send me a picture of this tile. Dude, have you ever worked with this? We're having so it's good to have that community to, you know, because, you know, like you said, we're always learning. There's always a weird scenario. There's a weird situations or unique situations. So regardless, we're always going to need somebody to be there to, you know, help us with questions, you know, or something like that.
Yeah. And also, this is going to maybe sound weird, but YouTube and TikTok are great ways. Like, if you're like, I don't know how to work with this product, I've never seen this tile before, this is new, because I mean, they're coming out with new things all the time. Yeah. Just do your research and really figure out the best way to install it or to use the product. Don't just, I'll figure it out. Like, I'm always read the instructions on this grout, because they're all different, and do your research and just be confident in everything that you do. Like everything that you do, you have to be confident.
Yeah, perfect. I love it, Sara. That's very good advice there. What a great conversation with Sara Maurchie. This podcast was so great that we decided to split it into 2 parts. In the second part, Sara's going to be sharing the pros and cons of being a female tile contractor, as well as her best advice for girls considering the trade. So trust me, you won't want to miss this episode, so make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you know when it's up. And what are your thoughts on females in the tile trade? Tag one if you know one, and as always, thank you so much for supporting and watching this channel. See you next time on How to Tile Like a Pro.